Well, hello everybody. I'll give it that minute to let people log on, but an amazing wake up here today. I slept well last night, and I can't believe what I wake up to. Three huge publications for us here inside the would-be PCC as we go to get registered. We have hit the mother lode with First Nations, two band councils in regards to two chiefs. It starts in BC. Sylix Nation is ready to pursue the criminal charges in the ICC, meaning we will start the reporting process. I advertised to everybody we will be going to the individual chiefs in the affected communities. There are several hundred new bodies found now, and it's great because now we can actually pursue for sure a reporting process. Is it massive? No, but it's a starting milestone. My educational videos are going to go out with absolutely first peoples inside the PCC organization. Many First Nations can come forward. I'm going to release how to report to the highest organ in the world, the real international law. No more fake tribunals, no more lies, no more bullshit. These people have called out clearly, and thank you, Dennis Woodrich, for the Apple News. I did get tagged into about a series of a bunch of them, but you know what? It's important, people. I knew that this was coming. I knew we had to go to this point, to the individual chiefs. I had tried the national chief. I had tried the council of chiefs. I was delighted to see Alberta and its 49 completely remove themselves from the regional chief. It was the last flicker of hope, and they did that. And what's increasingly unbelievable as it seems it's spread to British Columbia now, as now, regardless of the regional chief and the regional council, all crown empowered, and they know where the national chief's going. They know where the Governor General of Canada is going to go with this. Absolutely nowhere. We're down to the grassroots, the last line. And you know what? To get those criminal charges requires reporting to the UNSCP5. Doesn't mean everything's solved in a day, no. But you know what? You want to hold the crown embedded colonial government filled with customary law that none of you are even recognized in the Constitution as human beings, as well as a slave society of third class to forever have to pay for the crimes of politicians who clearly go out and do it. This is our chance. It's small, it's not huge yet, but it starts with hundreds. We'll get into the thousands. All we hope to do is to have the reporting process go forward, and the UNSC say we are going to continue this from June 28th, 2022. We're going to extend it another year. Let's see how many more chiefs report. And I am sure, First Peoples and third class Canadians, I am absolutely 100% sure that should chiefs report with ground penetrating radar, now hear me out, the ICC, the real one, the International Criminal Court belonging to the UNSCP5, all 50 members of the UNSC, but those 5 who cement all international binding laws, they recognize ground penetrating radar in all historical cases. They will not let the Canadian government deny you. And should the Canadian government start exhuming bodies, should the RCMP get involved, Canadians, hear me out, it will be absolutely met with criminal consequences, up to including everybody. You can look at the multitude of African nations who've gone through this, who've completed this, who've tried to bury bodies or exhume them and burn them or move them, saying, oh, we're going to do our own tests, they've all ended up in jail or much, much worse, including the death penalty, imposed lots of times after these regimes have been removed from the world, the face of the world forever. If you don't believe me, please go look at the transformation of Canada 1985 under Brian Mulroney in the Criminal Code. Look at the transformation of Canada absolutely quitting the real International Court of ICJ, International Court of Justice, sorry. I almost said the other one that's illegal, which is Canada's version, the International Commission of Jurists. The International Court of Justice, that is the real court, alive and well today. USA, for instance, is still a functioning member, still is on that court. You know who's not? So is UK, by the way. When you talk about transformations, you know who quit it in 1993 under Jean Chrétien after Brian Mulroney transformed the criminal code to make decolonization and Indians remain as non-human beings in Canada forever under the criminal code. And what they did is they said, oh look, international community, we've changed, but human rights violations are a slap on the wrist in the International Commission of Jurists through Canada's criminal code in 1985. For instance, you topple a statue of colonization representing lies, age-old empires that are no longer alive and reigning forward that way. You have Canada in abundance through parliaments, Parliament of Quebec, the Parliament of Canada in Ottawa, where the convoy is right now. You'll see it's all under construction, boarded up statues, because they don't want the world to see their gross criminal actions to all Canadian citizens. This was changed in the criminal code. You will get 10 years, upwards of 10 years, for knocking down a statue. So it says in the Criminal Code of Canada as of 1985. There's many. Did you know that the crime of genocide is a slap on the wrist? You're lucky to even see a fine. That's what Canada does with serious, gross human rights violations. And on the other side of the criminal code, deep, deep penalties for anybody behaving like an American, for instance. Anyone who follows anything America does, you will see 10 hard years in jail. That was your Brian Mulroney, conservative. And to follow suit with that, Chrétien clapping, oh, that's beautiful, in 1993 said, no Canadian forevermore will ever have access to the International Court of Justice. Here is my registered letter. We've removed ourselves, but don't worry, international community. It's because we have a better system. But nobody bothered to read Canada's criminal code. It's a joke. No one bothered to look at King's Court. Nobody bothered to look at what Canada does with human rights. They make the third class, the slave class, financially obligated for all human rights violations they're caught doing. Meaning politicians can literally rape, tear into a child. All the people appointed under them or organizations can tear children apart, vaginally, anally, and even bash their heads in and murder them. It's been done to homosexuals, deaf, mentally handicapped. Of course, the first being all the First Peoples. There is nothing in any law or any path forward in the government of Canada to end this. Primary example where we're going with abortion in Canada, where we are right now versus the United States with abortion. Many people right now with the Ottawa Convoy, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh really? Oh, who cares? I've heard this from a lot of people, even in my own work. Oh, it's not like that at all. Oh, I don't care about the Supreme Court Justice Roe versus Wade. I don't care about the 1,000 laws in the United States of America restricting abortion and how it's practiced and at what intervals. Do you know in Canada, there is no law restricting abortion up to complete term of a baby. There is no law in Canada restricting the first class from harvesting any and all parts of a fetal baby all the way up to full term in Canada. You're going to see my most excellent presentation. No American, no average American, and no average Canadian has ever seen, I'm going to repeat this, has ever seen a partial birth abortion. You can't get it. It goes into the realm of only higher education, meaning you have to be registered through a doctorate program in the United States of America to get that released for even Canadians. Did you know that, Canadians? I bet you don't know that. I had, I guess, what they call the privilege of watching the live video through those doctorates where people are making fun of the Boston U. Do you know how hard it is to get to sit into a doctorate lecture and get to have access to all the data, all the video that no Canadian is even allowed to watch, even though your country has all of these things in place? All of it. Do you trust your government, ladies and gentlemen? Do you trust that they're not harvesting all of these organs and tissues? I am going to go through the one law versus USA's 1,000. I'm going to show the world and the United States of America, Canada's one law, and the Bureau Commission. Well, what's a Bureau? Board. Oh yeah, that's not government. For all of those who took my course on civil societies many years ago, private course I would not release to the public. It was kept secret. There's many of you who are out there right now who were in that course. Didn't learn much. When you learn in Canada, you find that all of these civil societies are non-government. There's much people need to know. Much people need to know. We are going forward. We're starting the process. This will be likely my last video. I've put 3 topics in it for an extremely long time, as I absolutely complete all the educational videos teaching every First Nation chief who has bodies discovered. We have the list in entirety. I have scrubbed out. Again, everybody, I go with this much data, not this much data. I don't go with this much propaganda and this much reality. I go with the data. And I'm going to tell you, I know where all the bodies are, credibly, verifiably, which ones proved by ground penetrating radar. Those are what we're going to target. It will not be made public. I don't care about fame, fortune, and the rest of it. I do the right thing. Whether people believe that or not, or want to, we have all these people accusing me of things. We will right the wrong. I will teach the First Peoples how to do it in real international law to the real reporting organ that no Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, or Jagmeet Singh, Maxime Bernier, Yves Blanchette, or any other political garbage is ever going to be able to stop. Because it's not their privy. There is no power of them there. And again, I'm going to state, anyone who impedes any First Peoples, myself, or anybody else, you will be logged and registered. You will go down with what's called the ship, which is in your customary law. How do you like the boot on the other foot kicking you right in the behind? Because that's what's going to happen. And if you don't believe me, there's a multitude of countries where people have gone forward in this manner, and they have actually destroyed the country entirely. All elections void, non-void. garbaged. All political parties absolutely suspended because they were all garbage. They all wanted the crown. They all wanted to perpetrate absolute human genocide. Ruled illegal, banned in this world forevermore. Now, this can take many years. I'm not saying that this is going to be over in 6 months, folks. Brace for impact. It could be as much as 9 years. But it only takes a few, and right now we have 2 nations. 2 nations, likely more in Alberta. And when one starts, when they all start getting the educational videos, will we get ratted out? Possibly, likely, there's going to be betrayal chiefs. But at the end of the day, we can only do what we can do. I promise you their betrayal will mean very little. I will hold each and every member through PCC to account. You will sign a personal liability. We still have civil law. Doesn't matter if you're First Nations, third class, second class, first class. Civil liability is a law that transcends all of it. You can always be financially responsible for breaching a contract. So that's all I can do. That's the one law I know I can win. That's something that's going to be put in place as a check and balance. We don't want to fuel any of the other political parties. And if First Nations don't understand that, you'll just learn from financial liability, and maybe it will financially benefit me to the point it can help me get stronger if that's what we have to do. I have a lot of faith that a lot of people will hold true, will do it, and at the end of the day, we're not going to give it back to the crown. Don't do that. Don't do that. These are my strong words. Big voices today. It's coming out. We're going to get it done. It has to be reported 3 months prior to June 28th. The reporting process has to start. If they don't get a report 3 months before that date, one report, just one, it's going to be game over. We need a lot of reports, but that's what we're going to do going forward. So First Peoples, get excited. You have reason to celebrate. You can change the face of this country. You talk land back, you talk about all these things. How about we go to the real court? The court not controlled by the crown, not controlled by the politicians who've raped, murdered, pillaged, plundered, and just nearly destroyed you, as well as the slave class Canadians. Leads me into the second thing, the border. Finally, Albertans who organized the rally, finally, the convoy to Ottawa, finally you did the right thing, and you striked the power of the left. The strike. You finally did it. And it was done at the border here in Alberta. Today, border can't move either way. Americans affected. Jason Kenney is now stuck holding his aggressive law as a conservative. Canadians, wake up. The most dictatorial, criminal, unconstitutional premier, beyond the Prime Minister, who just loves it anyway, is Jason Kenney. Doug Ford's there, John Horgan's there, and absolutely Quebec's Francois Legault. 4 premiers. Now, you've hit Alberta, conservative. Who, everybody, has all kinds of acts and bills. He spun out literally 20 unconstitutional acts and bills, stripping all Albertans of every ability to protest by placing massive fines and absolutely entering you into Brian Mulroney's criminal code. This guy is a nutcase. He has taken the rule of law and said, listen, Justin Trudeau, I was with Stephen Harper. We built everything that you're working off of. I am still here, Justin Trudeau. I was immigration minister. Follow my great design laid out for you from the Harper area. Follow my brutality as I take rule of law and I rip it apart. For I am an educated, first-class divine politician from a federal privy council. And in their ignorance, Alberta brought me into the highest office under Division Section 92. I am well beyond Doug Ford and the rest. I know how to implement Ottawa. I know how to install unitary centralization and destroy the fundamental principle of Section 92 under division of powers. I will redesign federalism to likes of Ukraine, where there is no power of the people, none whatsoever, and in fact, all you are is of Ottawa, the central government. Jason Kenney did that in more than 20 acts of legislation since 2020 through the entire pandemic. He has removed everything that many, many Albertans fought and died for. You hear me, everybody? Fought and died for, because in Canada, we are nothing like the United States of America. You only win through strike, through violence. That's the only time Canadians ever got anything, unless the international community shit all over your federal government. I told myself not to swear in this video, and I just did it. Temper flaring. Alberta strikes for the first time since 2007, since I did. Tamara's name's out there. I'm not going to comment. I don't believe it, because I know what happens to organizers. I know what happens to your fundamental rights and freedoms, including your human rights going forward. They will be removed forever and a day, regardless of any success you achieve for everybody. The Crown targets you specifically and says, not you. They grab you by the throat and they go, not you. We're going to implement some serious sanctions, just like what's going on in the UNSC, the threats against Russia. Canada does that. They grab you personally by the neck and they go, we're going to put sanctions on you. And I've had sanctions on me as a Canadian citizen for entirely since 2007. These actions must be done. There are always sacrifices in Canada. There is no individualism. There is only the centralized system, one size fits all, under a three-class system. First, second, third. If the second class does not back up and bolster the first class, you quickly are rendered third class. If you don't believe me, look at COVID-19 and the targeted restrictions in businesses. He said, oh no, it's because of social distancing. Malawi results are in Africa, Malawi. The blood vials in relation to the AIDS pandemic and other major blood diseases of that third world nation. Average age, mean age, 18 years old. Of all those blood vials over the years, they went back to check for COVID antigens. What did they find? 80% were infected with COVID. From the first wave to the fifth, ladies and gentlemen. First wave to the fifth. We have already hit our immune-compromised amount of people in the population. It's why they're saying endemic, because enough people compromised to the virus today are gone. Going forward, every day somebody else becomes immune-compromised. You can expect your life expectancy to go down with COVID-19. How much the needle will move, it's in the 0.%. But what does it do to your health care? Alberta finally did a blow to lockdowns, restrictions, masks, right at the border to keep it federal, but it also forces the provinces in North and South trade. I'm going to give you all an education for free. It's Jason Kenney's act. He passed it. Why is that, Canadians? Why would Jason Kenney pass a removal of your rights and freedoms on cross-border trade? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you why. Because 85% of everything traded in Canada is north and south. Your railroad is not the end-all and be-all. Sorry to disappoint you. Ports and shipping, USA controls a monumental amount of all supply and value chains. Just like our oil deeply discounted, it's also that for goods. Made in China, 85% of made in China comes across the north and south border of each and every province. If you didn't know that before today, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I published this entirely more than 4 years ago now. In fact, it was all part of my platform for the independent nation of Alberta. Looks like some people did some homework, and now they've hit you right in the breadbasket, Jason Kenney. My hat's off to those Albertans who did a strike, the strength of the left. They've hit Jason Kenney square in the face, and now, for full witness, in real federalism, under regionalism and division of powers, you're going to see who is the dictator and who isn't, and I can promise you they're all dictators. If we had done this experiment of the trucker convoy from Alberta to BC to Doug Ford's Ontario, Francois Legault's Quebec, the 4 targeted provinces, all different forms of government. You got NDP, you got Conservative Liberal, and the ringleader of all, Justin Trudeau. Guess what the experiment would tell you, Canadians? Wham, bam, you would watch Conservative, NDP, and Liberal alike beat the hell out of you. What's going on? How is that even possible? It's called division of powers, and they all hold a crown. They're all sworn to whomever's prime minister. This is your autocracy. You just did a strike to the crown. And now Jason Kenney has to show you he's the crown. And if you haven't seen the worst autocratic dictator laws, anti-constitution, rule of law, Jason Kenney puts it right between his legs after a poop, a fresh one, and takes your rule of law, pulls it from his rear end, covered in his feces, and throws it in your face. We are nothing like the United States of America, not even close. Federal regionalism, The Crown proves to you clearly, as now Jason Kenney is going to enact a cross-border bill he already approved. He's been hard at work destroying Alberta. Beyond any rationale of any Justin Trudeau, you won't find a match in any region anywhere in North America. Alberta under Jason Kenney went full autocratic dictator. Why? Because there are 0 constitutions in any region, and Albertans elected a federal Privy Council member, a minister in multiple fronts, who you gave the power to run your Section 92 with 0 constitution. His hands untied, unbound, and he knows federalism. He just call up Justin Trudeau anytime he like. He ignores his whole cabinet. You will listen to me or I'll destroy you. And that's his power. Welcome to Canada. Jason Kenney is the biggest highlight. The greatest thing to be done today was the strike on the border to prove once and for all who is the biggest dictator. You're going to see it's Jason Kenney. You would have found out it's Doug Ford. You would have found out it's Francois Legault. And you would have found out it's John Horgan. You don't even want to know what they did with COVID crop dusting. All the other nations in the world in COVID-19 ended all immigration on any major scale. Very limited and only for refugees. Canada maximized immigration beyond every other nation in the world. Literally killing you. There were no vaccines. You don't even have a 90% vaccination rate. According to their own rules and laws, Canadians that you're fighting, Jason Kenney said, that's okay. I want twice the amount of immigrants as every other province in Canada. Me, I. Okay. And Justin Trudeau said, I love you, Jason. You're the greatest liberal, the greatest thing since communist China I've ever seen. I respect you. Beautiful job today, Convoy. Excellent. Last news of the day. It's the last day of the month. Ladies and gentlemen, UNSCP-5 are in the last chance talks. And I can tell you from cheese to pipelines, Russia is not scared of any sanctions. And to show you the hollowness of it for a P5 member, Russia takes over the UNSC tomorrow. You want to see my works now? Nothing I do and anything I've ever done for Canadians and First Peoples is ever done by accident. Contrary to popular belief, I plan out everything I do. I do it well in advance, usually in years in advance. I play chess, I don't play checkers. I think before I act, regardless of what people want to believe. I've been at it a very long time. Thanks and God bless. This is my last video, unless there's something seriously breaking like World War III. We have to have a talk. But other than that, it's the First Nations. It's their turn. We're finishing this. Everybody's ready for it. And we're going to get the job done. We're going to slap the crown in the face. We're going to go around them. And I'm going to show those people how to do it. They asked, we delivered. We're ready. I know.